All right, strap in everyone because we're diving in something pretty wild today. Jaguar, the luxury car company, well, they're going all electric by 2026. Big move, right? We've got a ton of articles and research to sort through today, and let me tell you, it's a lot. We're talking a brand new concept car that looks nothing like their old stuff, and a marketing campaign that, well, let's just say people are talking, so you ready to get into it?
What's really interesting to me is that Jaguar is not just adding electric car or two. They're going all in, the whole company, and
Right.
that's a risky move,
Yeah.
especially for a brand with such a strong image. Like they're known for a very specific thing.
Yeah, exactly. And speaking of image, have you seen this Type 00 concept car? The articles are saying it's boxy, almost futuristic looking. It's got these sleek lights and the wheels are huge. It doesn't really scream classic Jaguar to me, does it?
No, not at all. It's a massive change.
Yeah.
You think about like an F-Type, all those curves and that aggressive look. This is totally different.
That's kind of the whole point of concept cars, isn't it? It's not just about design, it's about testing the waters, seeing what people think. Maybe Jaguar's sending a message like, hey, this is the future. What do you think?
And it's not just the way it looks that's got people talking. Apparently, the production version of this electric car is going to have a range of 430 miles on a single charge. Can you believe that?
Yeah.
And get this, 200 miles of range in just 15 minutes of charging.
Oh, wow. If they can actually do that, it'll be huge. A lot of people are hesitant about electric cars because they're worried about running out of charge, and the charging times are so long. But 430 miles, that's like driving across the country without having to stop. And 15 minutes to get 200 miles back, that's barely enough time to, I don't know, grab a coffee. It seems like Jaguar's trying to get rid of all the things people don't like about electric cars. Yeah, but, and there's always a but. There's this rebranding campaign they're doing. It's called Copy Nothing, and, well, it's something else.
Something else is putting it lightly. It's like vibrant colors, models of all shapes and sizes, and no car. There's no car in the ads at all.
Yeah, it's like they took a fashion ad and dropped it into the car world.
Yeah.
It's a bold move for sure, but not everyone's a fan. This one article I read, it was pointing out all the things people are complaining about, like the font they use, the fact that they got rid of the Jaguar logo. Some people are even accusing them of being too woke. Like they can't handle that Jaguar is going electric A&D, changing its image.
Yeah, it's interesting, isn't it? It really shows you how loyal people are to brands and how hard it is to change a classic brand like Jaguar. I think they're trying to attract a younger, more progressive audience, but they might be pushing away their older fans in the process.
Yeah.
It's a tough situation.
Yeah, I can't imagine what it's like for their marketing team. Every time they look at social media, it's just a flood of comments. But here's where it gets really interesting. This whole electric car thing and the rebranding, it's all part of something bigger.
Oh, yeah, totally. You have to look at the bigger picture here. It's pretty clear that Jaguar is trying to completely reinvent themselves. They're not just selling electric cars, they're repositioning the whole brand. It's like they're saying, forget everything you thought you knew about Jaguar, we're something new now.
And the stakes are super high, especially with how much the UK car industry is struggling right now. It's a big gamble. Do you think they can pull it off?
That's the question, isn't it? There are challenges everywhere they look. Electric cars aren't selling as fast as people thought they would, and there's competition from both the big car companies and these new startups. It's a tough market, that's for sure. Jaguar is betting big on the future, but it could easily backfire.
So what does success even look like for Jaguar now? Is it just about selling a lot of cars, or is it about something more than that?
That's a great question, and I honestly don't think even Jaguar knows the answer yet. They're trying to figure out how to keep their history alive while also appealing to new buyers. It's a tough balancing act.
It really is, and we'll have to see how it all plays out. But one thing's for sure, it's going to be interesting to watch. Makes you think, huh, like, what does success even mean for a luxury car brand now, especially with everything going electric? Is it still all about sales, or is it about something different now? Like brand loyalty, or even how the brand impacts culture?
It is a really big question,
Huh.
and you're right. The stuff that used to make a car luxurious, like how big the engine was or how much horsepower it had, well, that doesn't really apply to electric cars.
Hmm.
But people still want that feeling of luxury, of owning something special.
So what's going to be the new luxury thing? Will it be about how far you can drive on a single charge or how fast the car charges? Or maybe it'll be about things that are harder to measure, like sustainability and ethical sourcing.
I think it's going to be a mix of everything. Younger people, they're the ones who are really driving this whole electric car thing, and they really care about the environment. So imagine a car that's not just sleek and powerful, but also good for the planet. I think that could be the ultimate luxury.
Yeah, I can see that. But we can't forget about the actual driving experience. Like, how do you get that feeling of excitement from a silent electric car? That roar of the engine.
That's the big challenge, isn't it? Some car companies are focusing on how quickly the car accelerates and how well it handles. Electric motors have a ton of torque, so you can really feel that push when you step on the gas. But it's not the same as hearing a V8 engine, is it?
No, it does feel like something's missing. That connection you have with the car, the sound, the vibrations. It's a really primal thing.
Exactly. And that's where I think things are going to get really innovative. Like, imagine electric cars with custom sounds or even haptic feedback.
Hmm.
So it feels more like you're driving a traditional car.
Oh, that would be amazing. But going back to Jaguar and all the changes they're making, it just shows you how much pressure they're under. It's not just about building a car, it's about changing the whole luxury car category.
Absolutely. And what's happening with Jaguar is like a mini version of what's happening to the entire UK car industry. They've been hit hard by Brexit, all the supply chain issues, and now this big shift to electric cars. So what happens to Jaguar could have a big impact on all the other car companies in the UK.
Yeah, no pressure then. But Jaguar does have a history of trying new things and pushing boundaries. They've always been a bit of a rebel in the car world.
That's true. They've had some really iconic cars and some really daring designs.
Yeah.
So maybe this is just another chapter in their story of doing things their own way.
Okay, let's play a little game. Let's say you're in charge of Jaguar. What's the first thing you do? How do you balance all this innovation with the fact that they have such a strong history?
Okay, if I were running Jaguar, the first thing I'd focus on is making sure that electric car they're working on, the one based on the Type 00 concept, is amazing. You can't just be a good electric car, it has to be incredible. Something that sets a new standard for luxury, performance, and technology.
Yeah, the car has to speak for itself, right?
Exactly. It needs to have that Jaguar magic, that feeling of being special and exciting. They need to find a way to connect their history with their future, to make a car that feels both classic and modern.
And what about the branding? Do you stick with that copy nothing campaign or do you try something different?
That's a tough one. I think they need to find a way to address all the negative feedback without completely abandoning their vision. They need to show that they're not just following trends, but that they really want to change the brand while still respecting its history.
So maybe a little less shock and a little more substance.
Exactly. And most importantly, they need to rebuild trust with those loyal fans who feel like the brand has abandoned them. Building a successful brand is all about building relationships. And for Jaguar right now, they need to repair some of those relationships while also building new ones.
It's definitely a balancing act. This whole thing has got me thinking, what does it even mean to be a luxury car brand in this new world of electric cars?
You're right back to that big question. All the things that used to define luxury are changing now that cars are electric. So what will take their place?
Yeah. What are the new status symbols? Is it range, charging speed, all the fancy tech features? Or is it something deeper, like we were saying before, sustainability, ethical sourcing?
I think it's going to be all of those things combined. But sustainability is becoming super important to people who buy luxury goods, especially younger people. They want a car that reflects their values.
So maybe the most luxurious car of the future is one that's not just beautiful and powerful, but also one that's good for the environment.
Exactly. It's about combining luxury with values, making cars that aren't just things people want to own, but also symbols of a more conscious and responsible way of living.
That's a powerful idea. But what about the actual driving experience? How do you make a silent electric car feel as exciting as a gas-powered car?
That's something a lot of car companies are struggling with. Some are focusing on making the cars accelerate really quickly and handle really well to make them feel more dynamic, but it's still not quite the same as driving a traditional car.
Yeah, you lose that raw connection you have with the car when it's electric.
I agree, and I think that's where we're going to see some really cool innovation. Like maybe they'll find ways to use sound design, haptic feedback, even augmented reality to
Yeah.
make the experience more engaging.
So imagine an electric Jaguar that not only accelerates like crazy, but also creates this whole symphony of sounds and sensations. It would be like a whole new level of driving.
Exactly. It would be pushing the boundaries of what's possible, creating an experience that's both thrilling and luxurious in a totally new way.
I mean, it's pretty incredible to think about all the things they could do. But it also shows you just how much is riding on this for Jaguar. They're not just making a new car, they're trying to change what it means to be a luxury car company.
And that's what makes this whole thing so interesting, right? They're at a crossroads, and every decision they make is going to have a huge impact, not just on them, but maybe even on the whole luxury car market.
It's a really big deal, and there are no easy answers. But one thing's for sure. We'll be keeping a close eye on them to see what happens. But, this whole conversation has got me thinking, why should any of this matter to the people listening? It's just a car company, right?
Well, not really. Jaguar going electric, the rebranding, all the controversy, it's a story about change, about adapting to new things. And that's something that's happening everywhere, not just in the car industry.
Yeah, that's true. This whole push towards sustainability, all the new technology, everyone's trying to change and keep up with the times.
Exactly. And Jaguar's story shows us what can happen when you try to do that.
It shows how important it is to be bold and take risks, but also to remember where you came from and to think about the people who support you.
It's like walking a tightrope between the past and the future.
You have to honor your history while also embracing what's new.
And honestly, that's something we all have to deal with.
Whether you're running a company, building a career, or just trying to figure out life in general.
It's all about finding that balance.
So, as we wrap up this deep dive, I want to leave you with something to think about. If you were in charge of Jaguar, what would you do next? How would you balance all this new stuff with their history? How would you create a car that people want to buy, but that's also sustainable and responsible?
It's a tough question, but it's worth thinking about. Because in a lot of ways, what's happening with Jaguar is a reflection of what's happening to all of us.
We're all going through these transformations, trying to adapt and move forward.
That's what we're all about here on the Deep Dive.
Getting you to think critically about the world around you. So until next time, keep exploring, keep asking questions, and keep diving deep into